Hi, this is Derek Lowen, author of Domain Broker 2. This tutorial video will cover the setup, including uploading and configuration of Domain Broker 2. Just in case you're a previous customer watching this video, there are quite a few things that have changed in this release. Not only has PHP Mailer been updated for security, there's also been a couple new features, including a new buy/lease field that the user can toggle when they visit your website, a head code field where you can insert scripts or styles, a privacy policy link field, which allows you to insert a privacy policy link in your footer. And I think the most exciting feature is all the extra login providers are done with. You only need to use your Envato account to log in. So let's get started with the setup. I'm going to be using cPanel for this tutorial, but you can use whatever FTP software or file manager you choose. So first I'm going to pull up the Domain Broker 2 files, and I'm going to upload this zip file that I got from ThemeForest. First locally, I'm going to unzip it right here, and then I'm going to go into the folder and go into webfiles-php, and you can see right there's also a written documentation for your reference. I'm going to go into the PHP folder, and I'm going to upload these files to my web host. So to do that, I'm just going to really quickly zip them up and then upload the file in my cPanel. Now I've chosen a subdirectory called db2-tutorial. You can either choose to upload Domain Broker 2 to your web root, or you can choose to upload it to a subfolder. Which one you choose largely depends on your requirement. So if your main domain is an already established website, you might want to choose a subfolder. But if you want Domain Broker 2 for your main website, just install it in the root. So in this case, I'm going to install it to the subfolder, so I'll upload the files. So the first step, once you have the files uploaded, is to edit the config.php file. In this step, we're going to set up the visual editor. You can also manage all the settings just by editing this PHP file directly. It's up to you. I would suggest using the visual editor if you're more comfortable with a graphical user interface, or editing config.php directly if you're more of a PHP programmer. So regardless of which of those options you choose, we're going to have to edit this one part of the config.php file. If we just scroll down, we'll see the editor settings header, and under editor login email, insert your Envato email. So that's the email associated with your Envato account. In my case, it's derek@lowenweb.com. But enter your email there. Once you're done that, save the file. And now we need to set up an OAuth app using the Envato API. Don't worry, it's a lot simpler than it sounds. So, first step is to go to the Envato website at build.envato.com. Once you're there, sign in. I'm already signed in, so I'll go to My Apps. Scroll down until you see the Apps You've Registered heading, and click Register a New App. Choose an app name. I'll call it DB2 Editor Tutorial. Under Required Permissions, make sure View the user's email address is checked. You can uncheck View and Search Envato sites if you like, it doesn't really matter. And then scroll down to the confirmation URL. This is important to double check that you have the correct URL. So it's going to be your website where you have Domain Broker installed. And then if you have www, make sure to enter that here. In my case, I don't. Then the subfolder you have Domain Broker installed, or leave that out if you don't have it in a subfolder. At the end, do /auth/callback.php. Just like that. So it's going to be HTTPS, or not if you don't have that, your domain name, then the subfolder you have it in, then /auth/callback. Once you've got that all, save. It's going to give you a code, which you should copy, and then switch back to your config.php file and paste that in the client secret under Envato OAuth keys. Just paste the value right between those single quotes. Now switch back to the Envato page. Click the checkbox to confirm that you've copied it, and scroll down to your app and copy the string next to OAuth client ID. And again, switch back to config.php and paste it in client ID. Now save your file, and you're ready to access the editor. Visit your website to the path where you installed Domain Broker 2 and load it up. You should see the template appear. Right now all the default settings are on, but we're going to customize them now. Go up to your URL bar, and at the end of the URL, add a question mark and then editor. It'll direct you to a login page where you can click Login with Envato. You'll get a prompt which will ask you to add permissions to connect your account. Just scroll down and approve it. Remember that you only gave it permission to access your email address, so that's all it'll be able to see. So if that all worked out, you'll be logged in as your Envato user, as you can see at the top right. You'll also see a settings menu and a save button, and you can pull down the settings menu by clicking on it. The visual editor has a number of tabs to control each section. First is the domains list, where you control all the domains in your portfolio. You can add a domain, delete one, and change its settings by clicking on the gear icon. Each domain has a number of settings, including the price, lease price if you enable leasing, description, image override, which is the background image, purchase type field, which if on, enables a lease or buy switcher. If you enable not for sale on a domain, it'll hide it from the domain portfolio, remove it from the domain selection list, and remove the price tag. On the right, you can turn on or off the domain portfolio, which is this drop down here. You can also set a reject price percentage. This will help you reject lowball offers by giving them an error message if they enter a price offer that's lower than the percentage you enter here. For example, let's say you enter 50 as your price percentage, and in your domain, it's $750. Now, if the visitor enters an offer lower than $325, they're going to get an error message saying their offer is too low, need to raise the amount before they can send the offer. Finally, there's the Google Analytics tracking ID, where you can enter your Google Analytics tracking ID, and if you do that, it'll send a page event per domain. Okay, next up is the contact form section. So here you can set your name and email address. When you receive an email from the contact form, this is how it'll appear from. So you'll want to enter your name there and your email. And then on the right, you have a choice of a few options for the contact form. You can turn on the domain select field, and I'll just show you what that does really quick. I'll save the changes, and I'll refresh the page. And now you can see there's a select box, and if you click on it, you can see all the domains in your portfolio and choose between them. If you select one, it'll automatically update on the left there. And if you enter a price for it, it'll automatically show on the left. So that's the domain select box. And then there's the purchase type field, which I talked about earlier, where you can have a toggle between buy or lease. I'll just turn that on and show you that. I'll also make sure the domain has a lease price. Yes, it does. I'll save that. And now you can see a buy or lease toggle is there. And if I just set that to my current domain here, now you can see the domain has a buy and lease toggle. And if you switch between those, it automatically updates the price on the left here, along with a prefix is for sale for buy, is available for lease. So next up, the message field option, if enabled, simply adds a message field to the contact form. There's also a reCAPTCHA option. If you have trouble with spam or just want to prevent it from the get-go, you can turn that on. You will need to set up reCAPTCHA with Google, so I'll just go over how to do that really quick here. You'll want to go to the reCAPTCHA website at google.com/reCAPTCHA, and then you want to either log in or go to the admin console. Once you do that, you'll see your site list. If you don't have any, it'll just be blank and say register a new site. Then you'll want to enter in your site name. This is just a label for your own reference. you'll want to choose reCAPTCHA version 2 and then checkbox. Under domains, make sure to enter the domain name that you have Domain Broker 2 installed on. In my case, it's DerekLowen.com. Accept the terms of service, and then click register. Now it'll give you a site key and a secret key. You'll need both of those to copy into the visual editor. So first choose the site key, copy it, switch back to your editor, paste it in the public key setting, switch back to Google, copy the secret key, and paste that in the private key setting. Once you do that, you can click save, make sure reCAPTCHA is on. Once you refresh the page, you can see that reCAPTCHA box has been added. And one more thing on reCAPTCHA, just quickly switch back to the reCAPTCHA website. And if you have multiple domains set up with Domain Broker, it's important that you go back into your reCAPTCHA settings and scroll down here to advanced settings, open that up, and disable domain name validation. This will allow you to have multiple domains be processed by reCAPTCHA without having to enter each domain name in this list. So if you have multiple domains, make sure to turn this verify box off. Because Domain Broker 2 already takes care of verifying domains, you don't have to worry about that issue. And then just click Save Changes once you've done that. So we already covered the price tag, that changes that text. Next up is the footer, where you can edit all these details. If you blank them all out, you can save, refresh, it just disappears. But if you want that footer there, you can enter your details, copyright, and this is new in 1.4.0, the privacy policy link box. You can enter any HTML here if you're familiar with that to link to a privacy policy. I'll just enter a simple link here just to show you how it works. I'll save that. It just detected that I had an invalid email address, so I had to correct that. Refresh the page. Now you can see it added this little link to the end of the footer, and that's the privacy policy link. And the idea for that is you can enter any link you want. It doesn't have to be a privacy policy link, but it certainly can be, and that is required by law in most countries if you collect form data from people. Next up is the appearance section. You can customize the background image, the primary color, and the tint color. You can also choose a texture if you'd like to overlay on top of the background image. You can add your own swatches here to choose from. Just see the included written documentation for instructions on how to do that. Next up is the code section. This is also in edition 1.4. You can enter any scripts or styles needed, and this is useful for example, if you wanted to comply with the EU GDPR regulations and show a cookie notifier, you can add a script for that here. And I'll just show you an example of how you would do that. So there's a great website with privacy and cookie policy generators called Ayubenda. If you go to ayubenda.com, you can sign up for a free account, and it allows you to create a privacy policy and cookie policy for free if you just do it on one website. So I signed up for that, and if you go to your dashboard, you can click the Start Generating button and generate a customized privacy policy and cookie policy for a website. Since I already did that, I'll just go into my existing site, and they offer you embed codes for each. And you can copy those embed codes and paste them directly into Domain Broker 2 in the visual editor. I just went into my privacy and cookie policy, and it's going to give me this embed that will insert a link in my page. So that's perfect for the footer under privacy policy link. I'll paste that there. And then I'll go to my cookie solution that I already set up and copy that embed code into the code section under head HTML. Once I save that and refresh, I'm going to see this cookie notice generated by Ayumbenda. Also, I'll see the privacy policy link that I inserted to the footer link, and I can click on that and it opens up a nice formatted, legally valid document for your privacy policy. I encourage you to check them out and see if that fits your needs. Something I'd like to mention too is you can override the purchase type field per domain name. So let's say you wanted to buy or lease one domain name but not the other. You would go into that domain settings, turn the purchase type field on for that one. And let's say you had another one, you only wanted the buy option to be available. You just turn the purchase type to off, and that would hide the purchase type selection field from that domain. A note on handling multiple domains with Domain Broker 2. You can have as many domains as you like point to your hosting account, and Domain Broker 2 will handle them all. So let's say you had domain 1, 2, and 3. On domain 1, you set up Domain Broker 2, and domain 2 and 3, you also pointed to that same hosting account using your name servers, and in the control panel, you would set up domain 2 and 3 as add-on or alias domains. Domain Broker 2 would automatically handle them and show your template and the relevant pricing information, etc. that you entered in the visual editor. I'll show you how to do one really quick here. So I registered a domain name called db2testdomain.com, and just make note that I entered a $1,000 price tag here and a lease price of $500. I'll set a custom image as well and turn on the purchase type field for that domain. I'll save that. And you can see it shows up in the domain portfolio. And now I'll add it in cPanel. I already pointed the domain servers for this domain to my hosting account. So you can see I added the domain in my cPanel as an add-on domain, and this is necessary if you install Domain Broker 2 to a subfolder. If you install Domain Broker 2 on the root of your hosting account, you can set it up as an alias domain instead. But this is the safest option. So I added my domain name, and this is important. You have to set document root to where you installed Domain Broker 2. In my case, it's in the templates folder and then db2 tutorial. So I set that here. Now when I visit that domain, it shows all the correct information, including the $1,000 price tag, the buy/lease field, which I can switch between, and the custom background image I inserted. If you want some more information on how to set up add-on/alias domains and point multiple domains to Domain Broker 2, just check out the written documentation. So that about covers it for this tutorial. I hope you found it useful, and if you have any questions at all or any suggestions for improvement, feel free to contact me at derek@lowenweb.com or through my ThemeForest contact form. I hope you enjoy and find this theme useful. Thanks for watching.